Just said again right now.
Let's get it on, bitches.
It was better when you went, let's get it on, bitches.
Oh, just exciting day, man. Lots of stuff going on.
What's going on, Joe?
Let's see. Saw that Rio is setting aside like 1% of their budget or their like holdings for crypto and going to start taking payments at BTC. Rio de Janeiro. I saw Tesla is going to start taking Doge again for merch. I saw something else that was pretty interesting along that line of like adoption.
Yeah. I think these infiltrations into city governments, et cetera, is going to be really interesting. Miami Coin has done really well for the city of Miami, and that's actually based on Stacks, which is the DeFi layer on top of Bitcoin. And that's something that I've done a show on Sovereign, which is another DeFi layer on Bitcoin, but want to get Munid from Stacks on the show, interview him. But, they have a real difficult needle to thread there because so many of the maximalists they think anything that isn't Bitcoin is a shit coin and anything that isn't purely on chain is. But I got to tell you, those guys at Stacks and Sovereign have done a beautiful job of utilizing the layer one security and capability of Bitcoin in order to make this as pure as possible. And the interesting thing is that the maxis are really shooting Bitcoin in the foot, right? Because those layers are the layers that can make Bitcoin more than a store of value. And if the maximalists keep down the path they're on, it's never going to be more than that. So, I like seeing this, and I love seeing things like what Stacks and Sovereign are doing because I want to see Bitcoin be a player in DeFi as well. So,
yeah, I mean, I have not been following Miami Coin that much. I mean, of course, I see the press.
It's generated a shit ton of revenue for the city of Miami, and the mayor is doing something with the funds to give to members of the city. So I want to see. I'm trying to find the tweet he did with the millions and millions of dollars that have come into the city coffers, and the city didn't have to do a fucking thing for it. So to me, that's very inspirational and a great kind of example that also might get people excited about the project, especially if the city of Miami starts allowing people to get a piece of the action, right? They start distributing coins to them. So,
yeah, I see it on CoinMarketCap.
Yeah,
just under a penny.
Essentially, it goes straight into the budget. What's his name? Suarez.
Yeah, Suarez.
He said he was going to do something with it, but anyway. Okay, so what else did you have? Tesla. I didn't see the Tesla. You didn't send a Tesla.
Oh, yeah, that's Tesla. That's the merch one, taking Dogecoin.
Oh, yeah. I want to know if they'll take it for their robot. I want one of those robots. I want it to do my laundry that they're going to come out with.
Really?
Yeah.
I think I've seen a few shows about that.
Yeah.
Domestic staff robots. That sounds quite intriguing.
So, yeah, they Elon announced that they're going to put them out, and then they said they're first going to focus on utilizing them in manufacturing, but the goal is, because they're programmable and use the Tesla AI for controlling and movement, that they'll be able to be reused for anything. So it's interesting. I'd really like to find where he said what he was going to give to the community, because they were definitely going to give out some of the money to the community.
Oh, yeah, I'm looking at I'm on Miami Coin, I guess. What is this? Yeah, Coin Market Cap, I guess. But yeah, Miami residents could soon receive Bitcoin dividends earned through Miami Coin.
Awesome.
Miami residents set to receive dividends from Miami Coin. This is all a couple months ago. So
yeah, that's the kind of shit that makes people go, oh, maybe I like crypto.
Well, it kind of gets to that. It's a little bit of like universal basic income, light, a little like a
Exactly.
little UBI flavor to this.
Exactly. Absolutely. And look, and then, it's an opportunity to educate, right? Because now people are going to be like, okay, I have this. How do I spend it? How do I use it? What do I do with it? Right. And so to me, that's really exciting that it introduces people to it, because now they have free money. Very similar to how, things in El Salvador are, with every El Salvadoran getting, $35. To me, that's an exciting way to introduce people to crypto and get them engaged and on board. So,
well, it onboards them. I mean, what they're doing here is they're going to pay the BTC dividend to those who acquire a wallet, register for the dividend, and pass the verification process.
See, now you'll get a piece of that because you're a City of Miami resident. On the other hand, am not an official City of Miami resident. So, unfortunately.
Yeah, I guess. I doubt if it's going to be anything substantial is my guess. But what it does is it puts all the citizens, it gets them all on a wallet.
Yeah.
And it gets those wallets tagged.
Yep.
Because they're getting verified.
Yeah.
So I bet what he's really thinking of is downstream, all the, G2C, all the government to citizen services, government to business services being managed through those wallets.
Yep.
In the future. That's pretty cool.
Very cool. Anyway, what else you got?
Anyhow, FTX put up a big, what was it, $2 billion fund, I think.
Oh, yeah.
And a pretty recent thing.
Evidently, they're going to start launching stock trading in the FTX US to compete with Robinhood.
Yeah, I mean, look, with Tom Brady at the helm, they've got big thoughts here, big plans. And this is the one that seems to be the most, it seems to be like those who are playing ball with the regulators the fastest get the access.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, to me, I don't know what I guess they're going to invest in anything. Yeah.
Yep.
Just any venture, but mainly blockchain Web3 type stuff. But I thought, again, here comes more money to the party.
Hell yeah. The more, the better.
You got a lot of adoption. You've got this other thing about more first-time U.S. home buyers sell crypto for down payment.
Oh, nice.
12% of U.S. first-time home buyers surveyed in the fourth quarter of last year said that selling cryptocurrency. I got to load it. That selling. Oh, you got it right there. Okay. Selling cryptocurrency helped them save for a down payment.
Nice.
From 9% in the third quarter of 2020. So
that's awesome. Now, as soon as people start, I read a story the other day of a guy that was trying to pay for a home with crypto, and the title company refused it.
Yeah,
so we got work to do, but that's still good to hear. That's great data.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, you see what people are doing is that they're creating wealth in crypto and then bringing it back into mainstream markets to buy a house.
Yep.
And I think that's the kind of behavior we really want to see a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think that's about all I had up on.
No, you have this one. I ranted about this on fucking look. And unfortunately, Tether freezes USD 160 million because of law enforcement requests. Look, we don't want criminals to get away with shit, but the bottom line on this is that this is another example of USDT and USDC are not DeFi. And our dependence on USDC in this space is my approach to this is, and I don't fault the projects for using it because it's the most liquid, most available. I get it. But the problem is if you have a dependency in your project on USDC, you are no longer decentralized. You can't be, because at any time, if the federal government, the SEC, whomever decides to shut your project down, they got one easy way to do it. They will kill you by locking up your USDC related wallets, and you're done. And your price is going to plummet, and the whole world will shut down for you. And they can do this to almost every project in DeFi. I mean, we have so many good algorithmic stablecoins. We have Frax, we have MIM, we have ALUSD. We have so many that we have to stop depending. UST. We have to stop depending on these centralized shit. I mean,
Well,
you know.
what I'm curious about, and of course, the interesting thing to me is that, if you have a bad wallet or what you're designating to be a bad wallet, and it has the USDC or the USDT, and you freeze that, and it locks up every other token in that wallet too. So that's a dead wallet at that
Theoretically, point. I don't know if that works that way.
I think I saw it in this article. If you read it, it says something like that. Once the accounts are blacklisted, the USDT balance is frozen and the users are not able to move funds from them. So I don't know if they're talking about the wallet.
I think they only mean the address as it relates to USDT. I don't think there's any way for somebody to get control over the entire wallet. I think they can only lock up the USDT.
So when you talk about DeFi, then you're concerned about the USDC pairs?
Well, yeah, and the investments, so example, a lot of locked value is in USDC. A lot of liquidity is dependent on USDC. And if a project in swaps and liquidity pools and staking, whatever, is dependent on USDC, then if that wallet gets locked up, if it's 40, 50, 60, 70% of their value or part of their mechanism for trading or staking or liquidity, then if the regulators decide to lock up projects that they don't think are compliant, they can basically kill the project, because as soon as you lose, a giant chunk of your liquidity, or locked coins of users are locked up by, the regulators, you're fucked. Your project's done, because everybody's going to dump that shit. Like they're not going to be involved with your project. So
I guess, but it's also then who has the, to blacklist the wallet. What is that process? I would assume it has to go to
they have to have a court order,
judge or something.
Yeah, I mean, they have to have a court order, but at the end of the day, the SEC has a lot of fucking power with these judges, right? And if they just say they want it for an investigation, they can probably do it.
I get your whole points, but I think that I think if they're clamping down on a wallet, it's not on a technical thing. It's that they blocked it something else.
No, but what
I get your point.
Look, if it's a DeFi protocol that did not get regulatory approval to operate, and they are seen and deemed by the SEC as a security,
has any gotten any regulatory approval to operate?
I have no idea who has and who hasn't. But
I don't think anyone has. Yeah.
But they probably haven't. But my point is, if they decide to go down that road, that's their single biggest weapon. Right. So let's say there are 10 projects that they think are most egregiously, violating the securities laws because they didn't go and get the stamp of approval from the fucking SEC. Well, all it takes is get the court order. Look, this is violating securities regulations. They are selling to U.S. customers. We bought $10,000 worth of this security that is a security under the law. And we bought it from this exchange, or we staked it in this liquidity pool, right? Now they get a court order, they freeze the wallet, and the project's dead. That's the weakness.
If they can get the court order.
Yeah, but they can get the freaking court order. I mean, all they have to do.
They would have done it already if they could.
No,
they would have already nailed them all down now.
Are you kidding me? They're still prosecuting shit from 2018. They're not even close yet. No, I totally disagree with you.
No. My point is, I'm saying there's not going to be any blanket come in and shut down the DeFi industry via USDC or USDT, because you have to have probable cause on things more egregious than, oops, an American was in there. So my point is, I don't know if that's if they're going to use that as an issue, it's going to have to stand up in court in the way that any other issue would. Not
right, but that's how they go. That's how they go. That's how they go after the ICOs, right? They went after the ICOs as issuing tokens that they classified as securities, and then they proved that U.S. citizens were buying them, and that's how they go after them. So that's, to me, I don't think there's any difference in the way they would prosecute DeFi protocols, right? They would say, this is acting, maybe they send initial subpoenas via email to the email address associated with the project, right? And they don't get a reply. And because the Anon developers are not going to respond, right? So what's your next step? We know this is a security being sold to Americans illegally. How do we shut it down? We can't block its IP addresses. So the way to shut it down is we seize the USDC wallet. We send a court order to Circle, and Circle has to comply.
Right.
That's my point.
Yeah, I think you're compressing a lot of steps into like what seems like one step.
I'm not compressing it into one step. I'm just saying that they will go through what they go through to prosecute projects. This is the biggest glaring weakness in all of DeFi for regulators, right? You eliminate USDC, then the only thing they can do is go after or doxed founders, because at that point they have no leverage. Right? They can only go after the ones who have been public about who they are, because if they're a non-DeFi projects, they have zero leverage. It exists on the blockchain. Maybe they could shut down the existing website, but another one can be popped up on IPFS. This is the biggest tool that regulators in the United States have to go after DeFi if they decide that's what they're doing.
Stable coins.
Yeah, USDC and USDT. Those are the holes. That's the gigantic hole in all of DeFi. And that's my point. And beyond that, they're just not fucking decentralized.
No, I agree with that. I agree with that.
Just from a mission perspective, they're not decentralized. But I wouldn't be as concerned about that as I would be that they have a back door. That to me is concerning. And look, Circle wants to be completely regulatory and compliant. I just read an article the other day about how many non-crypto companies are starting to use Circle for their treasury funds because they're offering 10, 12% return on lending in stablecoins on USDC. So Circle's going to toe the fucking line no matter what with the SEC. So,
well, they have to, because they're public or going public. So
exactly.
I mean, I have my issues with stablecoins, obviously. I just don't think that the regulators have as much reach as we sometimes give them credit for, or much efficiency. Because a lot of that
I don't
money,
think they have efficiency. I agree with.
The reason I'm getting at this is because a lot of the money that's sitting in all these DeFi protecols is all the Wall Street guys, and it's all the guys that give to the politicians. So
yeah,
I don't know if, I think they make a couple of examples always, like the ICO. Just trying to think who out of that whole thing. I mean, all the Pantera ICOs, they all settled right away. And then I remember Kick was the one Pantera one that I think wasn't settling. Was Kick fighting?
Kick fought for a while, and then I think they broke down. And Telegram fought for a while, and then they broke down.
Gave their money back.
The only one still fighting aggressively is UST,
Ripple?
Terra, and XRP.
Yeah.
And XRP won a big victory yesterday. I hate fucking XRP. Don't get me wrong. I think they're shit. But the thing I admire about them is they're not fucking around with the SEC. They're not going to sit back and negotiate a deal. They are going hardcore, hard ass against them. Yesterday, they won a ruling to admit all of the emails in the SEC relative to
Ethereum,
the speech that what's his name gave about Ethereum not being a security. And that was a big victory, but that's what every project should be doing. Like, that's why we need my legal DAO idea, where we staff it with ex-SEC attorneys. We raise, $1 billion, and every time the SEC even sneezes, we fucking sue the shit out of them, because they don't have the resources to scale. And then you take part of that $1 billion and you start recruiting every longtime attorney out of the SEC with $500,000 a year in salary, right? Because they join the legal team, you recruit them out, and you just shut the fucking SEC down. Like, you make it so they have so many lawsuits and so many court actions happening, and you're recruiting attorneys out. So all they have is a bunch of 23-year-olds that don't have a fucking clue what they're doing, trying to prosecute for the SEC. That, to me, is what crypto should be doing. Absolutely create a DAO, go hardcore, sue them anytime they even look at a project. Sue the shit out of the SEC.
Good luck with that.
Why good luck with that?
Because you're going against groups that have unlimited leverage. And
But
you don't, if they're going to get you, they'll get you somewhere.
But here's my point. If it's a DAO providing the legal defense, and the entire purpose of the DAO is to be aggressively off on the offense against the SEC, then it doesn't matter what their leverage is, because the resources on our side are far greater than the resources on their side. They can only staff so many attorneys. They can only handle so many cases. And the last thing the SEC wants is to go to court. That's what they never want, because they don't want to take the chance on a judge limiting their powers. So my point is that it doesn't matter how much fucking leverage they have. If every time they look at a protocol, they request documents, they do whatever, that protocol aggressively sues them, requires documents, makes them fucking bog them down in document discovery and everything else. And then you're at the same time recruiting attorneys out of the SEC, right? So you're hiring these guys at massive salaries, far more than they're ever going to make being a fucking SEC attorney. You can shut down an organization. You can absolutely expend their resources, and they don't have the resources to handle it, Joe. They do not have enough attorneys to handle having an entire industry of $1 trillion plus going after them hardcore and suing the shit out of them every chance they get. And it's not in their best interest to go to court. So it weakens them. It forces them into a corner. It makes them negotiate from a weak position instead of a strong position. And it lets protocols know that there's behind them a defense. So they don't have to settle, because the resources, the legal team is there to fight for them. The only strength the SEC has is scaring the shit out of founders and making them think that they're going to have to pay a big fine or they're going to go to jail. But if behind them is a massive fund of experienced attorneys going after the SEC, then they're going to be a lot more likely not to settle with the SEC. So my point is, it's all a resource game. And the goal is to bog down the SEC so much that they're weak in their negotiating stance and that they don't have the resources to fight in court. That's the strategy.
That's the dream. Yeah, that's your dream.
No,
yeah.
But it's what? But give me a logical reason why it wouldn't fly.
Well, because one, SEC is part of a group that I call Fortune 1. So the U.S. government is the biggest enterprise, the most powerful military that the world has ever seen in its entire friggin' history. Sure. And you think if they regard you as a threat, that they're going to come and find some kind of a mistake that you've made, or they're going to come at you in other regulatory ways? It's not just SEC. There's exposure to a whole bunch of other things, in the U.S. Treasury.
I get
FinCEN, money laundering, Patriot Act stuff. These are all jail time issues.
I understand it completely. But
so I don't think, plus with attorneys, I don't think you could basically mount an attack on a government agency and then hire their attorneys as well, and then basically be, I guess, the backup for all the little startups that are scared of the SEC.
Why couldn't you?
Well, why? If they're not tough enough to be unscared on their own, then they shouldn't be doing a startup.
What the fuck? Look, at the bottom line is there are only so many resources in every startup. And if this industry doesn't defend the industry itself, then what'll happen is the same thing that happens every time, is this domino of everybody settling. So why wouldn't you take this stance? Why wouldn't you bog their resources down? Why wouldn't you make it difficult for them to operate? That's the whole point. Like, if you hire SEC attorneys to take on the SEC, right, in all of these cases, you're going to have a leg up. You're going to have a superior edge. And at the end of the day, the SEC and their other regulatory agencies all have a lot of shit to do. They don't have just DeFi to go after. They have attorneys on all kinds of cases across the board. And there are only so many resources, and there's only so much budget.
Yeah, who has more of it?
We would.
Really?
Actually, of course we would. Of course we would. We would have far more eventually. Look,
eventually.
Of course. That's the whole point. That's the whole concept.
You don't have it now.
Why not?
Well, you got a total possible budget of $2 trillion. If you assume the entire, 1.6 trillion, whatever it is right now. Nobody's putting up all that money. So it's a very small fraction of that.
Of course. Let's say it's $1 billion.
Okay, it's $1 billion. Well, what are you going to do with it once you get it?
Well, everything I just said.
But you're gonna. Nah, I think it's a waste of time. I just don't. And if you want to advocate for yourself, go raise money and go sue the SEC.
Well, that's how you lose. That's how you lose.
But there's the laws in this country against. I'm not going to say it on the air, but there are laws there that would be used to go against organizations that tend to threaten the government, that are kind of, let's just call them obscure, and they cross over and it becomes a multi-pronged approach. So to me, I'm not getting involved in anything that goes.
Well, I'm not asking you to get involved in it. I'm just telling you it's a fucking idea, and I think it's what the industry should do.
Well,
I'm not a fucking
so
attorney.
It's an opinion. Okay. Well, I go the other way. I mean, I believe in like coordinated responses to things and lobbying and influencing policy that way. But I think that having however many hundreds of attorneys you would have to be suing the SEC constantly. I mean, I'll give you a good example. There was this guy that I don't want to say his name, but he was from like a big four accounting firm, like, the old, I'm not going to say which one, but like the KPMG, E&Y types. And he had the three top law firms identifying it. What he was doing is he was buying big chunks of corporate debt, completely legal, from companies that were going into bankruptcy, and he'd get it for some price. Then he'd turn around and sell that debt to other U.S. corporations that wanted to shield income. Well, there's legal opinions from 5 top law firms in the world. Nothing in there that's explicitly illegal per se, but the IRS and others did not like it because here he was, making tons of money off of, $40 billion in losses and then selling to other companies. So they basically crushed him and, forced him to go a different route because he was attacking and abusing, a principle that they didn't want abused. So my only point is, I'm not saying what's right or wrong there. I'm just saying that, when you start going against like very, very powerful groups, it's not just the group you see, it's all the groups that are behind them. And you can't see the extent of what's behind, private sector stuff that is supportive of government and the way government is now. So to me, I think that there's so many potential adversaries out there that when you do these big coordinated attacks on an institution, that it's just not worth it in my mind. I mean, I look back to the example about the ICOs and you look at how many, despite all the noise and everything that everybody made, the SEC, I mean, most of the ones that were prosecuted, I mean, some returned money, but most of the ones that were prosecuted were like actually frauds, like you would see in OTC or, bad Series A's and things like that. Most of the groups were able to buy their way out or shut down. I can't think of maybe more than 10 that I think got in any serious trouble. So I don't think that, I guess to me, I'm like, I think we put too much onus on that they're the bad guys or the boogeymen, when in reality, I think that if you have a really good project, you can do it within the framework of the rules. And unless you're doing something seriously illegal,
you can't do anything. Any DeFi project that you and I look at in any given day is not going to fit within the rules of the SEC. And Gensler has made that perfectly clear.
Well, I agree that it's right now but I don't even think there's a regulatory framework for regular crypto still at this point. So, but I agree, but just because he says it doesn't make it so. And so my point is just that it's kind of like what I told you the other day about all the SEC attorneys that I talked to, out not in the SEC, but X, they just advise everybody to go do everything overseas now.
Right. Well, of course,
and wait till they sort it out here as to what these rules are going to be. So I think if you got a good project and a good idea and you can go sell it, i.e. get someone to give you money to move to run the project or try to make it, that you can finesse your way around these things too with the right lawyers. But if you're just throwing something up and not even remotely paying attention, you're gonna get in trouble.
Yeah, and my point is I think we need to get to the point where where we're setting the agenda for what the regulations will be, not the existing powers. So that's why I think we need an offensive strategy.
Yeah. Well, that, if you want to change regulation, that's a different strategy. You touched on that in another show we did. It's about lobbying the Hill. It's like going to those guys that you showed. Who was that guy in California? Ben Sherman or something like that? Or is that
Brad Sherman?
Brad Sherman. Yeah. And you educate them, that's how you contribute money to them. You go to their functions and talk to them. I mean, when I used to do that in the 90s, that's all you do is you just try to get to know them and get their ear. Money gets you the access, but then you still have to sell them on why. And I think you just have to go grassroots on that and educate these people. I mean, most of them are like 80 years old. I mean, they're like almost your age.
I think you just have to beat them. I think you have to beat them. I don't mean literally beat them. I mean, you have to I'm turning off my fucking cam because this piece of shit's not working for shit. Fucking Logitech. I will just have to agree to disagree on this one, Joe. I think the industry has to take an offensive position, and I think letting the industry and the regulators know that the industry is not going to be weakened by being divided is a better strategy. So, but we'll agree to disagree on this one. I personally believe that being on the offense is a much better strategy than hoping we get the formula that we want, because right now the formulas would never work for what's happening in this space. Like, they just won't.
Yeah, I guess I would say that from what the energy you would put in to say do something like this, I would say come up with a really good idea, make a ton of money off of that, and advocate from that position of strength versus
if they don't lock you up.
They're not going to lock one person up for that.
My point is they have this industry operating in the shadows, right? Like, a majority of the people that are anon for two reasons. The United States regulators, even if they're in another country, the U.S. regulators, and personal threats from people that aren't happy of something that happened with the protocol, right? And that's no way we should be running a financial system, right? I mean, I have the utmost trust in a number of these anonymous people because I've met them and talked to them for the show. But do we really want a financial system that operates that way? That's what the current regulations do, is they force this into the shadows. They make it so that it's easier for the scammers to scam, and they stifle innovation, right? I mean, more and more American tech people are going to be leaving the country because it's not worth it. Not to mention our fucking tax regulations relevant to capital gains. But so my point is that there are two offenses I want. I want hardcore millions and millions of dollars put into defeating any candidate that doesn't toe the line on crypto and DeFi. And I want a legal offensive strategy that stretches the resources of the SEC to its breaking point. And those are the two things I think could have an impact to get where we want to be. So just my personal philosophy.
Yeah, but I mean, well, okay, I'll let it go with that. I'll agree to disagree. I just don't like poking bears in the eyes, basically.
Yeah. Well, I'm not asking you to do anything. It's okay.
Okay,
Joe.
yeah, I'll be the one. It's like that story of
you're safe, Joe.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about, like, if you're in the woods, you don't have to be the fastest one. You just don't want to be the slowest one. And so if you're poking that bear, yeah, buddy, I'll be right behind you.
Such a wimp.
But yeah, no, it's easy to. I understand. The thing about the anon stuff and the undoxed teams, I think it's obviously a little bit of the former, but the second one is more of a threat to me. Cranks knowing that you're sitting on all this crypto.
Sure.
That, and then I didn't think of disgruntled people, but of course disgruntled people too. And I agree, it's not a way to run an industry. I would rather have people run it now. Undoxed and anonymous, so the industry launches and you sort all this shit out like we're doing. versus people not doing anything, or feeling like they can't do it because they have to be doxxed. I'd rather have it just go, because that's what I think about innovation is you just push. And, I'm kind of one of those guys who believes in, as long as you're not, doing anything bad, that it's better to go for it and do it and then ask for forgiveness after, versus asking for permission. And that's kind of where I was sort of disconnecting with
or parole.
Yeah, your position there. Because you're going to have, these are usually civil. SEC stuff is usually civil offenses. It's usually fines, unless you're, lying to people in the sense of, oh, I got Steve Dickhead on my team, my Harvard MBA, and there's nobody there, or there's no fund, or you're lying about something, expressly. I mean, that's the stuff that tosses people in jail. And also if you return the money or not, even if it is that bad. Let's say you went and lied your ass off, if you can give the money back, usually it stays out of criminal side. So, you see all these civil forfeitures and things like that. I mean, I'm assuming you did a raise here, a DeFi protocol, you're going to have enough money to pay people and settle things and get yourself compliant.
All right, let's kill this topic.
Fuck it. Let's get to the fun stuff. Let's
Cryptically go. In our Discord channel shared a really cool site called Ape O'Clock. There's 100 things I want to change about it. But like being able to search by type or chain or whatever. But this is a site that tells you about upcoming IDOs, NFT sales, new staking and yield farming with existing ones, new NFT launches on existing NFT protocols, DAOs that are launching, new rebase protocols. It's fucking awesome.
What is that one? What is it?
It's Ape O'Clock, APEOCLOCK. Really good stuff. Really good stuff. So
this looks good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good. It's very cool. And you can oh shit. I didn't realize they had a filter. I said cryptically in our Discord channel.
I heard it. I heard that. Okay. I got it. Yep.
Thank you cryptically for participating in our conversation. So anyway,
this is good.
Very good. This is great. And we've got some really cool ideas happening in the Forked Club discussions. So there's some folks with some cool ideas that we're going to consider here. If not in the first version, then the second version. And I'm not going to disclose them right now, but some really cool ideas that kind of brought this thing into focus because it's a cool concept. So that's really awesome. So I aped in a little bit this morning. I haven't aped in on something in a while. I aped in on the MIM side on this new protocol called Platypus, which is on the Avalanche chain, is backed by Three Arrows Capital and some big name. They raised about $3.3 million, has big name backers. It came out of what's called the Colony Incubator. But look at these fucking stablecoin yields, man. MIM, 94.87%, DAI, 90.99%, USDC, 108%, USDT, 102%. And the beauty of this is the unboosted yields on this protocol. The boosted yields, so this works kind of like Curve. It emits these P2P tokens that you can then stake and boost your yields on this shit. So it's really, this is a really nice one. It's getting a lot of hype. The P2P token was having a big run up. I'll take a look and see if I can get it loaded up here. But all in all, I like this. It's single staking. There's no two sides to the pool. Pretty cool project. I like that it has big backers behind it. Feel like it's pretty legit. So all in all, really good stuff. Really good stuff.
Yeah, that does look cool.
And you got to love those fucking yields for a single staked stable coin.
Yeah, that's pretty.
The biggest risk is there is a liquidation risk somehow. I haven't climbed into the rest of the docs on if one of the tokens you're in loses its peg to some significant degree. Like, so let's say MIM went off $1 and dropped to 86 cents, maybe. I have no idea what the pegs are for that, but that is the baseline potential risk there. But anyway, really, really nice to see a single. I mean, dude,
That's home runs, dude. I mean, that's like
fucking awesome.
You go put $100,000 on in Alchemex, let's say, and borrow 50 out of for that, and throw 50,000 USDC in here and earn 104%.
Exactly.
I mean, that's real money.
That's real money.
No, I could see this being the end point of a lot of those strategies.
Yep.
You know, even if you're just like parking 100,000 in BTC on Aave and borrowing what 75 grand, and then pouring it in here and getting 100% on that, and you can spread it across all 4 stables.
Exactly.
Too.
Exactly. So you lower your risk on that peg. No, it's a real powerful offering. It's pretty impressive.
Well, and then look, you know, we talked a little about stables earlier today, but you know, DAI is one that I own chunks of a lot at different times. I don't have any. I like DAI. MIM, same thing. You know, I do MIM pretty much if I'm on Avalanche or Phantom.
I love MIM.
Yeah, I'm rolling on MIM.
So I've reached out to the founders to see if I can get them on the on with you and me.
Cool.
So we'll see if they will come on. But yeah, anyway, there's a lot of hype around this one right now too. So the underlying P2P token, I'm actually considering a buy just because. Let me go to P2P. Oh, BTC is over 43.
All right. P2P.
PTP.
PTP.
On Avalanche.
Oh, yeah, I've been hearing a lot about Platy for a while. Let's see. Yeah, it's making a nice run today. Yeah, since I think 4 a.m, it's up from $2 and
look at that.
12 cents.
$3.50. Yeah, from $1.20 something. $2 this morning. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah,
up 74% on the day.
See, did you already go into this?
Yeah, I went in on stables. I went in on MIM.
Oh, I mean, did you buy any Platy?
No, not yet. I haven't bought any platypus. Are you looking at PTP?
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah.
Platypus.
No, I haven't bought any yet. I'd like to see a little bit of a jump, but the hype hit fast this morning. I didn't get it. They launched They launched at like 9 a.m. Eastern time, I think, and then the hype machine has been extreme on this one this morning.
So what was the is it just this feature launch that has triggered all this interest?
Yeah, this is a brand new protocol.
Got it. Okay. Because I'm looking at the chart here, and I'm just looking at like the
tokens I think the tokens got released like in the middle of December. They must have done a sale that we missed.
Yeah, I see it back here, like the 18th.
Yeah, but otherwise, it's like.
Yeah, it's made a nice move, but I think you're right. It's kind of like now I look at this one and I'm kind of like, if you definitely go in. I mean, if I was going in on this one and I don't own any of it, and I said, yeah, fuck it, I'm going to jump in even though it's doubled today, I would only go in with 25% of what I wanted to put in.
Right. Yeah.
And I would wait. Yeah.
I'd like to see a little dip on this as people start getting these P2P rewards. Some of them are going to sell and dump instead of boosting their yield. So I'm expecting that there'll be ups and downs on that price. And like I said, the hype is at full throttle today. So,
the trading volume increase 24 hours is up 1,540%.
But all that said, it's a really, I mean, if they can sustain this model and make it work, and I was reading through the yellow paper this morning, there's quite a bit of, there's been quite amount of thought put into the math here in the algo, and it makes sense. Now, the actual math itself, I am incapable of doing, but the reasoning and the English language explanation of why they're doing it makes a ton of sense.
Okay, can I ask you might have said this, I might have had you on mute when I was looking at something else, but what is, I mean, I get it. You stake the tokens there and get 100%, but what are they trying to do? What is Platypus doing?
They're trying to be they're trying to be like a liquidity provider. I think they're trying to play the game that Curve and everybody else is playing, right? They want to be a major, stable coin liquidity provider.
So they got a bunch of VC money in there. Yeah. And they're basically, okay.
3.3 million, 3.3 million, which, isn't outrageous. So and they probably did a lot more in the token sale. Who knows? But the official raise was 3.3 million.
So I guess so. Okay. So now they got all this money sitting in treasury. And so what do they, I guess I'm trying to get at, and I know the math gets pretty deep here, but what are they trying to do with that? Are they like doing an Alchemix kind of play where then they're going into other yield farms to generate yield for themselves to invest in something, or?
No idea.
Okay. Got it. Because that's kind of what I'm curious about. If you're giving those interest rates out 100%, then, obviously you're trying to acquire a bunch of capital to do something with.
Yeah. I mean, I think what they're trying to do is be Curve, but in a different way, right? I think they're trying to provide liquidity.
Yeah, I'll dig into that.
Yeah, they're an AMM, right? I mean, they're automated market making. They're trying to provide liquidity, but giving people the ability to participate in a single-sided fashion instead of in pairs, right? And so you eliminate impermanent loss, all that.
Okay, hold on.
They call it asset liability management.
Stable swap. I'm hearing a lot of talk about this. Open single-sided stable swap.
Yeah, so they are a stable swap.
Got it.
Right. Open liquidity pool, single-sided token, slippage is very low, capital efficiency high, asset scalability is high.
Interesting.
Yeah, and
fragmented liquidity. Okay.
How long these APRs exist is, who knows? But
go get them now. Hell yeah. No, this is interesting because they're doing.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I'm reading these percentages. Coverage is the asset to liability ratio of a pool. Wow. So I'm fucking hyping something up. The boosted APR is 106%. The base APR is 22%. My bad.
What's the boosting criteria?
So that's staking. So if you get if you stake P2P with it and you put it in and then you get back the VE P2P and you stake that, then you boost your yield. I don't know what the math is and how much, do you have to have the same amount in that you have in the stable, but the boosted yield is 136% on DAI, 125% on MIM. The base APRs are 26, 28, 22, 22. So that's why P2P is pumping, besides the hype, is people are buying P2P to boost their yield.
Yeah. I mean, I know you can do that on Spirit Swap too. I think you had to stake a node or something like that, like 50,000 or 5,000. And then you can get the boosted APRs, but there were big differences. I mean,
here's they have a calculator. So my stake deposit, let's say USDT, let's say MIM, and let's say 25,000 MIM, and not 2,500, 25,000. I don't know what they mean. Stake deposit 25,000, and then VEPT. What's the price on P2P right now?
385.
Oh, you can just stake P2P for a specific time and lock it. And if you just stake that, I don't know. I need to figure this out.
Yeah, but it looks interesting. They're also bringing up another point that I thought was just real quickly, just toss out there. Stable swap are important not only for pegged assets, but also to solve the fragmented liquidity problem due to the existence of multiple bridges. It's also a building block for enabling more synthetic assets and algo stablecoins. we believe the unique design makes us more compelling stable swap DEX than our competitors. So fragmented liquidity problem. I mean, I guess that's if you're running a liquidity pool or maybe part of the pair is on one chain and the other part's on another chain, or do you think it's like if you're all on Phantom and it's like a Spirit swap versus Spooky swap kind of thing, or Quick swap versus Sushi swap on Polygon? What do you think that means?
No idea.
Fragmented liquidity problem. Multiple bridges. Okay, well that's something when we talk about cross-chain, multi-chain stuff. That sounds like something that is to advantage to solve that problem.
The liquidity of different pools cannot be shared with one another, resulting in higher slippage. So I think what they're saying is now when they do a single staking model of each stablecoin, now all the liquidity gets shared amongst all of them, right? Because you don't have to say I'm only in MEM USDC. You can be in USDC, and every pair that has USDC in the swaps, your capital is used on that, right?
So you have the basket. You basically have the index.
Exactly.
The 4 or 5. Yeah.
Okay. I think that's what they're getting at.
Yeah, I was thinking, because if you do, I mean, just think of an index of like top 10, not to change the subject real quick, but top 10 DeFi plays, or even just the top 10 chains in protocols. And you had an index on that, that where people could just put in random amounts and then it weights to, whatever the preferred weighting is, in the aggregate. I mean, that's pretty cool too.
Yeah, totally.
I like this because that way, if you're scared of one stable coin, let's say you're sitting on really serious money and you spread it out amongst 4 or 5 stable coins.
Yeah.
And there's an internal algorithm there that as you said, I believe is, rebalancing the allocation amongst the stables based upon, like you said, if one goes to 99 cents or something.
Exactly.
So it's like a kayak of stable coins.
That's good. I like that.
I like it. All right.
Yeah. So anyway, they've got a good starter guide. I started walking through it. I've aped in at a lower percentage than I thought, but now I just need to go in and boost it. So I'm going to do that. But again, this is not financial advice. Do your own research. These are just our opinions. But to me personally, it looks pretty attractive. I like the brief diligence I've done on the fact that they have Defiance Capital, Three Arrows Capital, and a whole slew of VCs in on this raise is encouraging to me. So overall, I'm pretty happy with what's here. I think this is a good concept. I think it's going to be really interesting, and there'll be 100 copycats on Phantom and elsewhere after this, I'm sure.
It's interesting because whenever I see these types of plays, it always reminds me that, in traditional finance and business, it's all about stability and very low volatility.
Yeah.
And in crypto, of course, it's all about volatility right now. But as these types of companies keep coming out in different angles, you're going to see the volatility. They're all about compressing that volatility.
Oh, yeah.
To make things more predictable. So these types of things, particularly this one backed by all those VCs, I'm going to dig in deeper on that. That's for sure.
And me too. I tweeted about this yesterday. Visa and Consensus are teaming up to help governments implement CBDCs. Not a big fan of this. Very disappointed in Consensus personally. I get it. They're trying to make a buck. But to me, it's kind of an abandonment of the entire concept of privacy and decentralization. I get that this stuff's going to happen eventually anyway. I just don't think we should have a company like Consensus, who's been, core to Ethereum's development and growth, partaking in making this happen faster. Because I think that CBDCs are going to give governments far more power over citizens than is necessary. So to me, it's very discouraging. I would rather see an algorithmic stablecoin become the default USD peg and not have this happen. But end of the day, there's one guy trying to make a buck on Consensus, and he's going to do whatever it takes to make his money. So,
well, can I ask a question? Do you think it's a play on, if all these central bank depository coins, I guess then it would be all written on Ethereum at that point.
Well, potentially, sure, potentially.
You know, so if you get a certain percentage of that, you know, it makes sense strategically to go after that. But yeah, I wonder, like with Visa too, you know, I mean, you could just see how the privacy is eroding everywhere. I mean, I was at the airport over the holidays, and I don't fly that much anymore, and I realized they don't even look at boarding passes or anything anymore at security. You just stick your real ID compliant license in the reader, and it like waves you through. They can see your reservation based from your driver's license already.
Shit.
You don't even have to show it anymore. So the only time you show that shit is when you're getting in the plane, you know, to basically do that. So, you know, you could see now the devices that we carry around and, you know, everything, all of our activities create unique fingerprints. You know, what we browse, what we look at, it's all being fused somewhere.
Yeah.
And so when I see that thing about consensus and Visa, you know, of course that's okay. So if you're a central bank and you have all your citizens with wallets, you know, I mean, you're going to want, you know, protocols in place and how you manage that, obviously, because I mean, one day couldn't the central bank just say, "Hey, fuck it, we're pulling all the money"?
Exactly. Or force you to spend money, track everything you're spending. I mean, it's just
lots of preemptive stuff.
There's lots of shit that scares the shit out of me about that.
Guilty before proven.
Exactly.
Shit.
So this is interesting. Near raised $150 million more, which I like the guys at Near. I think their protocol is pretty cool, and I'm excited for them. But I'm a little shocked by the size of this round. Where the fuck?
I thought it'd be bigger.
I'm shocked that people are doubling down. Near's number 30 in TVL. They've only got 182 million, and they've been at this a while. They haven't gotten any real traction yet. And so, I mean, Oasis is above them, and Oasis just fully launched their protocol in the last few months. So I don't know.
It's an anointed play, dude. It's like you said earlier with the VCs.
Well, it's A16Z is the primary guys. Are they in this round? If they're not in this round, that's an interesting.
Yeah, it'd be pretty interesting.
Let me see. Three Arrows Capital. Adris A16Z is back in, but they're not leading. It's led by Three Arrows. Mechanism. So big names: Jump, Alameda, Z Prime, Amber Group. I don't know if this is like a mission-based investment because they want another player in the space, and these guys didn't get in early on Avalanche and Phantom. So, you know, Near is their play against those two. I find it strange.
I think that's right. I think that's probably the most accurate. You know, I think people look at Near. I remember looking at Near when I was in it before, from like $1 to 6 or 7 or something. And, you know, people I know had talked to them and had good things to say about them, but they weren't ready. And so I think if I'm the VCs and, you know, these guys already have their bets down on Near, so they're going to anoint it and promote it. You know, I'm looking at Solana and Avalanche and I'm going, fuck, Near at $85, Near at 130, you know, Near at 150. I mean, you know, that's the kind of site I'm looking at.
What's it trading at?
It's at almost to 20 now.
Huh.
You know, it was at like $5 3 days ago, I believe. So, hold on.
I don't know. They got a lot of ground to make up. I mean, what the fuck is Clayton at number 11, by the way?
Hold on. I'm in Binance right now. Let me pop over to DeFi. I just want to see the chart on. Yeah, Near's at 1975. Now, look, I'm looking at I'm going to look at the 1 day. I mean, it was at 6. Yeah, okay. It was at 6 most of at 6 on December 1st. It was at cross 10 on around December 23rd. So it's been growing. So I think that it's something like that. It has to be the people that like Phantom or like Avalanche or like Cosmos, you know, all of those groups, you know, Kronos and their little blockchain. I mean, I think it's everybody's saying, okay, these guys will be able to drive traffic to it. I don't know how close, like how on the NFT side, what they're doing. Maybe there's some play there. With
That was supposed to be their big refocus, right?
Yeah.
Last year, mid-year, they started refocusing on NFTs. But look, here's where the TVL is: Ref Finance, Metapool, and Oin Finance. I don't think any of those are NFT plays, but I mean, almost all of that, all bless you, is in Ref Finance.
Excuse me, thanks.
Bless you. Up 23.98% in value locked. Somebody dumped, probably from one of those investment groups, dumped it in. I don't know.
Look, at this point,
I think there's still plenty of room. Don't get me wrong. There's plenty of opportunity. We're not even scratching the surface yet in market penetration. So, that's cool. You can download their data. I didn't know that at DeFi Llama. So I think there's an opportunity. I think, Suzu is fucking brilliant. So if he's betting on it, it's attractive. But
look, there's a big difference from it being at $5 versus being at $20. If you're looking at it like at $5 now, I'd probably be like, yeah, no brainer, do it. But in my mind, I'm always thinking, shit, I sold it at $7, so I guess I could buy back in at $5. But to me, looking at 20, it reminds me when I was looking at like Pancake Swap, and I was doing the same thing back then with Pancake Swap, running it up, and I'd see it get to like 18, and I'm like dumping, and then it's back down to like 6, and then it's back up to like 20 something, and then it's back down. To me, this is one I think it goes. I think one day it's just going to move, $30, $40, just like Avalanche did, just like a lot of those did, based upon that hype of the future. It's the one beyond Solana, beyond Phantom, beyond BSC. Is it? I don't know.
Now, this is interesting. Look at the number of protocols. So the number of projects on chain. Solana's been at this a long fucking time.
Yeah.
And there's a giant pool of Rust developers out there that they should be tapping into. But right now, they're ranked 7th in number of protocols with only 49. So they've got all this liquidity concentrated, in a few protocols. And I mean, maybe there's a lot of projects about the launch, but that's not a lot of developer activity in terms of number of protocols. I'd be pissed if I had money in the original investments in Solana that they haven't expanded more than that in terms of getting people to launch on the protocol.
You're talking about the 49?
Yeah, there's only got 49 projects on there, and they got 9.62 billion in TVL, right? I mean, look, the ultimate success to me of a protocol is can you amass developers building on the protocol, and hopefully there's a whole pool, a pipeline of protocol of projects coming for Solana, but that doesn't look good. A fucking Arbitrum just launched. When did they launch?
It was a few months ago. Yeah, I don't remember exactly.
They got 51 fucking protocols. You know why? Because the developers don't have to rewrite their code. Solana, you got to bring in Rust developers because it's not Solidity compatible. So that's why Arbitrum's already beating Solana in number of protocols, right? And not to mention kind of the arrogance and the attitude probably isn't attractive to some developers. But I'm a little shocked. Look
at Terra Luna up there, 18.2 and TVL. 8.2B. Let's look at the protocols they have. So they're running.
How much? What's their 18.2?
18.2, yeah.
But isn't it just a chain for stable coins?
Well,
they got a number of protocols.
Yeah, I'm looking at all these protocols here. That's what I'm looking. Loop
That's
Finance.
good.
I remember them from before.
But a majority of it's in Anchor, Lido, and Astroport. Lido.
Yeah.
But
Lido we talked about a lot. It sort of ties somehow into Convex and those guys.
Lido is started as Ethereum staking, right? So you don't have to have the 32 Ethereum, and you can stake in their pools, and then you earn Ethereum for version 2 of Ethereum version 2. So there must be some kind of staking model for Terra, and that's what Lido's doing. So here's the thing: 11.13 billion of the TVL out of what's their total for? What's the total for 18.2 billion? That's not good. Why did it say? Why was it when I click through? Oh, I get it. It's 11.2 billion across Ethereum, Solana, and Terra. It's 5.36 billion. So fully, just under a third of all of Terra's TVL is Lido locked for staking. They have in protocol-based TVL, like actual projects that people are doing shit on the protocol. You're looking at 12 billion. So that puts their ranking. That puts them down to just above Avalanche. That's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, so tying back to Near, I think that's what people are really thinking.
Are we getting spammed?
Oh, yeah, it looks like it. 2 of them.
What the fuck is that? Vor.ong Vam. What guys? What are you going to try to get of us?
Yeah,
anyway,
maybe
go
it's
ahead, Joe.
I don't know. It's some new lingo. But look at like Tron. I mean, Tron's only got 8 protocols. I wonder what the protocols even are.
Tron's a piece of shit, but it's got a ton of Asia. I think you're the one that told me that there's a ton of activity in Asia.
Oh, yeah. It's like the big Asia play. Yeah, I don't really see shit here. Of course, the sun.
Now, I think I need to back off on my hatred of Tron a little bit now that Justin has left.
Yeah, he's now His Excellency to what? His new title?
Some place where he won't get prosecuted, I'm sure, is the entire concept here.
Yeah, his Excellency to Tron land, an island in Micronesia
with no deportation and no prosecution.
Yeah, no extradition, deportation.
Give us one of your billions, and we will shelter you, sir.
Welcome to the Cook Islands.
He's such a piece of shit.
Yeah, I don't see it. I see a Just Lend. It's got like 1.74. My guess is that's something like a Ave Geist kind of thing.
Might be interesting to take a trip through a couple of projects one day on the show. Just for
I know.
Oh shit! I'm supposed to be on a call.
Oops.
Sorry, dude.
All right,
folks.
buddy.
Love you guys. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Talk to you later, buddy. All right,
Bye-bye.
cheers. Bye, everyone.